Warning. This video contains words that are outlawed. For your safety, the loving and caring communists of Canada have deleted all forbidden words. All hail, glorious leader Justin Castro, praise and blessings be on his name.
Okay, welcome back. I'm thinking about this Susie Wiles nomination by Trump, or appointment by Trump, to be White House Chief of Staff, which means she will run the White House, basically. Problem with Susie Wiles is she's a former big pharma lobbyist. Okay? I don't know how these people can try to straddle both sides of the street like this. You can't work for the enemy, the genocidal maniacs in big pharma, and represent Donald Trump by running the White House and being his chief of staff. It doesn't seem that that's possible. Talk about incongruous, but I'm telling you, watch the appointments come in. Howard Lutnick and Jerry Kushner heavily involved with it. You're going to see a lot of names that are not going to inspire much of anything. Already, when you think about the fact that Linda McMahon and Lutnick, both billionaires, were tabbed to run the entire Trump transition, formally today. These are billionaires, and the comments are going to be the same. You can figure out the criticisms. The billionaire boys clubs and girls clubs are running the show again. Trump is representing the super rich. You'll see it all. We just watch how the liberal media handles this. Anyhow, not a big surprise to yours truly, and I think many of you would agree. Stefan Verstappen is with us this hour, 1 hour early tonight, and we've got some interesting things to talk about. First of all, Stefan, welcome back, and how goes it? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Jeff. How are you doing?
Okay, thank you. The view from Canada, well, it's almost the same as here, but how do you see it? Any thoughts on that you want to share with us before we jump into the prime course tonight?
Sure. What's the prime course?
Somebody was stabbed 11 times in a subway, and I think you wanted to run with that, didn't you?
Yep, that sounds good. It's a little bit more interesting because I got some advice on self-defense, and we get back to the old cane fighting.
Yeah.
But how's things here in Canada? Well, the Kalergi Plan is going full steam ahead.
Right.
They are lying about how many immigrants are coming in here.
Oh, yes, you bet.
Yeah, they're lying about it. It's got to be quadruple, maybe 10 times more than they say, because we're getting a lot of Indians from India, not First Nations people. We're getting lots and lots and lots of Indians.
I'd sure rather have Indians come in than people from Nigeria, frankly, or the gangs of Venezuela. No, Indians have a different ethos.
No,
you know more about that than I do, but go ahead.
No, they're all the same garbage. I'm sorry to say that, but the fact is the fact. These people are, we've already had that problem with them shitting on the beaches and on the streets and on the beaches.
The Indians.
Yeah.
Oh, I withdraw my comment. I forgot there are 8 castes of people there, 8 castes, and they're probably shipping over the bottom caste.
They must be, because they're everywhere, Jeff. I mean, all the small businesses, all the fast food stores, all the convenience stores, all the gas stations, all Indians. And people are getting really sick of it. We have Facebook, which, I hate Facebook, but every small town has their own Facebook page where they post things like missing cat, if you find the cat, or, which is sometimes interesting to read because it's just the locals and what they think. And there's been endless comments about how many Indians there are, and people are sick of it. They've taken over Tim Hortons. They now call it Sing Hortons. Tim Hortons is a chain of donut stores, sort of like Dunkin' Donuts there in the States. And they're the entire employees of every one of these outlets. And there's thousands of them. There's thousands of Tim Hortons. And everybody's complaining that, first of all, the restaurant is, really looking shabby. and it's dirty, and nobody can get their order right, because you go up to the drive-through window and now try to talk to somebody that's got a really thick Punjabi accent. You can't understand what they're saying, and people are really frustrated. And then when they do get their order, the order is wrong, and then they also complain that the quality of the food, because they also sell kind of snack stuff, wraps and soup bowls, stuff like that. And they said the quality of food is really crap, and so everybody's complaining about the Indians. Now you say, well, better them than Nigerians or the Venezuelan death gangs. Well, they just did a raid on one of the Indian clubhouses the other day, and they found 52 kilos of fentanyl, enough to kill just about everybody in Canada.
Yeah, that would probably do it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With plenty left over to take out many Americans. That's a lot of stuff, depending on the concentration of it. Yeah.
120 pounds of fentanyl. Come on, this is ridiculous when, a couple of grains is enough to kill a person. I mean, what are they doing with all that? But in addition to all the fentanyl, and this is an Indian gang, okay? Like you said, there's like 8 different castes. There's a bunch of different tribes of them. And they don't necessarily get along. And so there's a lot of gang wars going on here in the city between these different gangs of Indians. And in addition to the fentanyl, they also confiscated, I forget what the number is exactly, but it was outrageous, something like 120 firearms, machine guns, pistols, all the kind of weapons that are illegal in Canada. A law-abiding Canadian citizen, even if he does have a gun permit like I do, I couldn't buy those guns. They're full auto, AK-47s and pistols with short barrels. You can't buy a short barrel pistol in Canada, right? So that's just one raid on one.
A short barrel rifle is what you're saying, I think.
No short barrel rifle we can get. Short barrel pistol. And something like a .380. They don't even have .380 ammunition here because you can't buy a .380.
.380. I agree. It's hard. It's not a popular. All right, go ahead.
Well, it's a popular concealed carry.
That's true, but it's not something most people think .38 special 9mm. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, listen. I would like to have a .380 because they're small and compact and.
They got some pretty nice. They got some pretty nice 9mm compacts now too. There's plenty for everybody.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is just one Hindi gang that's been, raided, and they found all this fentanyl and all these firearms. So,
right. And what's going to happen to them?
Nothing. Nothing's going to happen to them. I doubt anything's going to happen to them. I really do. We got the same problem here as you have there in the United States and as they have in Europe and all over every white country in the world. They've all instituted, the powers that be and, the ones that wear small hats, they run the whole world, and they have decided that all the white countries in the world must be subjected to endless violence. And so they've instituted the same catch-and-release policies everywhere. I was talking to people in New Zealand last month, and they said the same thing. They had to move from Auckland, New Zealand. They moved to a small town in the south because there was too many immigrants. And it's the same thing if they're caught.
It's funny, isn't it, when you think about it, how those immigrants all somehow appeared in New Zealand? How did they get there? Who paid for it all? The New Zealanders must understand that they're being sold out like we are and like everybody else is. They're being betrayed.
What do you think? They floated on a raft from India to New Zealand? Come on. They were flown in or they were shipped in. It's so obvious. Yeah. It's the Kalergi Plan. It's gone full tilt boogie.
All right, explain the Kalergi Plan. Kalergi. Kalergy.
Yeah, I spell it, or I pronounce it Kalergi,
That's fine.
but it might be Kalergi. I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. People should know this by now. I'm pretty sure your listeners know this by now. It's this plan that the founder of the European Union came up with, where he stated that we're going to destroy the white race by flooding them with migrants.
Right.
And then only the race of people that wear small hats will form the natural aristocracy. You know, Jesus.
That's what their plan is. Kalergi is also pronounced with an I, spelled with an I on the end of it. Some people spell it with a Y, but you can look it up. Yeah, it's a beanie regime that is heading toward running the planet, even more than they already do. Those little hats.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in addition to every convenience store, every fast food place being full of Indians, it turns out that our own government is subsidizing their wages up to 70%. So,
oh my. Yeah.
my tax dollar is going to pay 70% of the wages of the Pajeets to come and work and take Canadian jobs. I mean, it's, Jeff, how did they get away with it? How did they get away with it?
The fix is in. The planet is being run. That's what you have to come to as a conclusion. The planet is being run already. The New World Order, the WEF, is one of the visible tentacles of it. But there is a machine, an engine that is running the planet. Okay?
Yep, I agree. And it's monumental, and it's ever present, and it's spread everywhere. So we are paying for our own replacements. How they get away with that, I don't know. What and how come Canadians and New Zealanders and Australians, because I'm pretty sure the same thing's happening there. If it happens here, it's happening there, because we're all part of the Commonwealth nations. We're still all nominally British. We all have the Queen, or now the King, as the nominal head of our governments. Where's the pitchforks?
Right.
Where's the pitchforks and torches? The other thing is, there's a town not too far from where I live now. It's called Brampton. I used to work in Brampton back in the 70s, so that's going back. And when I was working there, I was working for St. John Ambulance, was the 52 Brigade. And at that time, Brampton was a quiet bedroom community of Toronto. It was actually a great place to live because you could live there, it was quiet, and no crime, and you were still within 45-minute drive from Toronto, so you could commute. And it was quite nice. Now, Brampton is like 85% Indian. The last time I was through there was a couple of months ago.
Huh.
Oh, it's all Indian.
Well, see, that's planned. That didn't just happen. They were all placed there.
They were all placed there. What? They all just happened to buy property in the same small town?
Right.
Anyway,
well, you can go back to your Kalergi Plan and just remember the formal wording doesn't say that they're hoping to mix the races. They're trying to replace the white European race with other races. They want them gone. This is a war on white people, white Western Christians. It's a war on whites. They're to be replaced, not bred into oblivion. Replaced. So where are they going to go? 6 feet under. That's where most of them are going to go. That's their plan anyway.
That is their plan. And I warn people about that all the time. I said, well, can we talk about white genocide?
Yeah.
You do know they're trying to kill you. People talk to me, well, the government this. I said, here's the thing with your government. They want you dead. What are you talking about, the government, this, that, and the other? Forget about the government. They are out to kill you. Stay away from the government and stay away from the hospitals. They're out to kill you, too. Oh, my God, we got a huge target on our backs, Jeff. Especially me. I'm I'm the Aryan prototype here: tall, blonde, blue-eyed, white, straight.
Yeah.
So I am public enemy number one, and it's ridiculous. But anyway, so Brampton, at one time, it was a quiet bedroom community. It was a smaller town, and it was all white back in the 70s when I worked there. Now it's 85%, maybe more, I don't know, 85% Hindu or Indian, whatever the hell these people are. Now, over the last couple of days, they've had running street battles in that town. Apparently there's a couple of factions of these Indians, and of course they built a giant Hindu temple there with a big, giant, gaudy monkey god statue.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And so there was some sort of incident at the Hindu temple, because they have different factions. I can't figure it out. There's some Hindus that don't like other Hindus, and then there's also the Sikhs. So we've got at least 3 gangs, I guess you could call them, that are fighting it out in the streets for 2 days running. They've taken over the entire downtown. They're attacking each other with long poles and swords. They're running through the street with swords. And where's the cops, Jeff? They're nowhere to be seen.
Sounds like a bad B movie. It's awful.
Oh, it's bad. It's like it's some like Bollywood movie,
Right.
And I mean, we're getting the news story. They are literally hundreds of Indians are in the streets. They're shooting fireworks at each other. They're beating each other with flagpoles, and most of them got swords now. You can see them walking down the street with swords. How long do you think I would last walking?
Welcome back to the Middle Ages, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And where's the police? Well, they're nowhere to be found. But when Canadian truckers staged a peaceful protest, nobody had machetes.
All over the place. Yeah.
Cops were all over them, and the mounted police, and they went charging in there like a cavalry charge, and they knocked some old lady in a wheelchair over and ran over her. I mean, but meantime, for 2 days straight, these people have taken over the downtown core of Brampton in their mass gang fights that go on all night, and unbelievable, Jeff. So that's why I call Canada is Calcutta of the North. I don't know how many millions there are here. There must be tens of millions now, because they don't tell you the truth how many's been shipped in. And they've taken over Brampton. They're mostly taken over the next town over, Mississauga. And and I was talking to a guy. He wants to join our community. He lives in another town close to me called London, and he's a tow truck driver. And he says, "Can you use a tow truck driver?" We said, "Sure."
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
You bet. Yeah. So I'm going to meet him on Sunday. He's coming over on Sunday to meet me. Anyways, so I was talking to him for a while. I said, "Listen, I'm hearing stories that London is full of Indians." He says, "Oh, it's terrible." He says, they're all over the place now. They're taking over. So they're city after city, like dominoes, Jeff. Brampton was first, and then Mississauga. Mississauga is the same thing. I went through there. It's like 80% Indian. You don't see any white people on the streets. Forget about it. And now London...
They've all moved away, huh? They're gone.
Oh, white flight, yeah. Which pisses me off to no end. Why do I have to run
Of course.
from my own country, because all these third world savages have decided to move in? But I got to go. But I've already gone 3 times, Jeff. I've done the white flight thing 3 times. Now, thank goodness.
I remember the last one.
Huh?
That's the one I remember. I remember the last one.
Yeah.
Your third. Or maybe that was the third. I assume it was. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, the third was when I had to move from Mimico in Toronto. Because, again, this time it was the blacks. You can't... Anyways, that's another whole story, Jeff. I don't even want to get into it right now. Excuse me. So we all have to move. We have to try and run away from all these immigrants that are, taking over the businesses, rioting in the streets, and dealing drugs, and they have all the firearms. And then, just to add a little icing to the cake, they shit everywhere. In the streets, in the fountains, on the beaches, in the parks.
Jeez.
So,
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, talk about ending civilization. That's one of the quickest mechanisms to employ.
Well, that's why they're doing it. That's why they're doing it.
Uh-huh. Sure. Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, there's... so he told me that tow truck driver... Here's the other thing. I have another friend, Dixie's husband, Kevin. They drive trucks, right? What they do is they deliver trucks from one area to another. So they drive it, somebody picks them up, and they go get another truck. And Kevin and this guy here in London, he's the tow truck driver, they both told me horror stories that it is extremely dangerous on the roads now because all the truck drivers are Hindus. And
right, this is
they don't
probably,
know how to drive trucks.
Yeah, no. All you got to do is look at some of the compilations of auto crashes and truck crashes, and you can see many of them are being filmed in India. They're obviously Indians.
Well,
awful crashes, crazy stuff. And they say the Chinese are bad drivers. I don't know.
Well, what happens here is they get because they don't get a license, right? But they have a friend that works in the DMV, right?
Yeah.
Because the Pajeets are in all the government service offices, and
really, okay. Well, there you go. That's how you take it down. You worm your way in the bottom at the foundational level. Jeez.
Yeah. So
they're getting bogus. They're cranking out bogus licenses, is what you're saying.
Yes, they are. They are. Because I was asking Kevin, I said, what's going on? And he says, oh, well, they get a license in one day, and it costs them $1,000. The other thing they're doing is they drive in teams, and they cut, get this, Jeff, I'm not kidding, they cut a hole in the floor of the truck.
Oh, come on.
So that they can go to the bathroom.
Oh, God. I believe you. I have no doubt. Look, if you look at some of the compilations of auto crashes, you'll see what I'm saying. Many of these are videoed in, obviously, either Pakistan, India, and they're crazy, some of these crashes.
Oh, yeah.
And if nothing else, it's actually good to watch them because it just takes a moment and you're dead. If a truck comes across the double or through the median, doesn't matter. Some of these crashes are absolutely horrific, and you don't see them. They're not covered on the mainstream media platform. No. They're actually just swept away real quick. And these are fatal crashes, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, 45,000 a year on the average in the U.S. Here, 45,000 dead.
Yeah. Well, we should ban cars.
How about teaching people to drive responsibly? You got somebody you know, or what is this deal about somebody stabbed on the subway? Let's get that done. I want to see what this is.
Okay, so I'm on Facebook, and somebody sends me this video. And I remember the video because this happened about a year ago, and it was on the local TV stations here. About it's CCTV footage from a subway in Toronto,
right?
The TTC, and it shows a white guy being attacked and stabbed by a Nigerian. And he said, "Oh, this is me." And I said, "What? No, Phoebe, no, get off the." And I said, "Who is you?" And he said, "The guy in the video." I said, "Really?" I said, "That's you?" And it turns out that this guy knows me because when I was teaching Kung Fu in the park back when I lived in the city, and, once a week I'd be in the park by the lake, and anybody that wanted to show up, I didn't charge anybody, Just come and, oh, I got my cat here. Phoebe, get up. Go. And anybody can come and show up, and I'll teach you Kung Fu. You know, I've been doing that for years, Jeff. You know, try to spread a little bit of sanity. Anyway, so he had actually come to one of my classes. He says, "Yeah, I remember you because you were teaching Kung Fu by the lake there." And I said, "Oh, well, that's interesting. I don't remember you, but okay." And he said, "Yeah, that's me." And I said, "Listen, why don't you come on my live stream? Because I do a live stream on Sunday nights from 9 o'clock to 11. So you have to look me up on YouTube, Stefan Verstappen, and on Sunday nights you can listen in. Now, what I do is after the live stream, I delete it immediately because me and the few regulars that we have on the live stream, you know, it's the N-word this and the J-word that, you know, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to delete it before the YouTube algorithm bans me. So long as I delete it really fast, I haven't been hit, other than the last interview I did with you, which they took down and gave me a strike for.
Did they?
Yeah, because you mentioned the unmentionable thing that involves medical misinformation. Oh my God! You You can't even say the name. Okay. So I said, "Oh, well, why don't you come on the live stream?"
No, I don't want to do that. Sorry if I caused you any trouble. I don't want to do that.
No, it's my fault, Jeff. Because usually I listen. Like when you send me the link for the download, I usually listen to it and then I bleep out anything like that, right?
Got it.
But I missed it. You know, you only said it at like one little thing at 6 minutes 52 seconds, and I forgot to bleep, or I didn't hear it and I didn't bleep it out, and they caught it, and I got another strike against me. Anyways, do I care? So I said, why don't you come on the show because I'd like to hear the whole story of what happened. So here's the whole story. He's on the subway, and a Nigerian comes on the subway, sits right behind him, and starts playing really loud music, which is really obnoxious and inconsiderate and annoying. And I've had that happen to me already a half a dozen times. That's why I moved from Toronto. You know, after we would go to the park there, and I would teach Kung Fu. You know, usually from like 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then, like I've always done, is the last hour, if you want to stick around, you can go home, but if you want to stick around, we'll talk about philosophy and strategy and tactics and things like that for another hour. And then everybody goes home at 10 o'clock. And then I tend to sit out there by myself. I like to be alone in the, outdoors by the lake at night. I love it. My God,
nice.
Sure. But the last few times I was there, one time a minibus shows up and like 15 black people get out. This is like 11 o'clock at night. This park closes down at 9, okay? It's not officially closed, but there's nobody there, right? Which is why I used to like to go there. There's nobody there. And they bring out the boom box, the ghetto blaster, and they all start rapping and singing. And oh, my God, the noise. The noise.
What dialect were you hearing? Just some indeterminate African dialect? What are you hearing?
Who can understand it? It's some ghetto talk bullshit, And they're all, doing rap or hip-hop, whatever the hell they call that garbage. And but it's loud. Blacks are loud. They can't speak in a normal voice. Everything they do has to be screaming. And so anyways, I'm sitting there, and then this happens, and I'm not. And, of course, before I can even get out of the area, here come a bunch of them to bum cigarettes from me. I'm so sick of them. They see a white person, they immediately figure they have to get something from you, right?
I get it.
Yeah, and then a couple of days later, I'm out there again by myself, late at night, under the moonlight. One black guy comes out there, stands there at the edge, and starts screaming at the top of his lungs. He's singing some hip-hop or rap music. I wanted to kill the bastard. To be honest with you, I really wanted to kill him. I was going to push him in the lake, hope he drowns. But, discretion is the better part of valor.
You'd end up paying the price, and they breed like mice, so forget it.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, so Derek is the guy's name. He's on the subway. Now this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the subway's full. And this black guy comes in there. He's from Nigeria. He sits right behind him and starts blasting, of course, that obnoxious hip-hop rap music from behind him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And, of course, he's disturbing everybody on the train. Everybody's uncomfortable, but that's what they do. They do it on purpose. They want to irritate you because you're white, okay? And they just want to get in your face. What are you going to say? You're going to say something about it? Yeah. So this guy turned around and said, "Do you mind? Can you turn it down?" Well, the Nigerian freaks out, pulls out a 10-inch knife, and goes at him. And Derek had some martial arts training, and he was able to kind of battle him away for about half a minute. And then this guy stabbed him in the back, through his kidney, and destroyed his spleen. So now he can't fight anymore. He's got no breath. Suddenly, listen, you get stabbed in the spleen. A ruptured spleen is the fastest way to bleed to death internally. That's what happens oftentimes with football players. If they get tackled on the left side of the body, then you can easily rupture a spleen, and you'll bleed to death internally. But you get 10-inch knife through your spleen, that's pretty much it. So then he turns around and he starts running, and this guy's chasing after him, stabbing him in the back, stabbing him in the neck. He turned around to defend himself. He put his hand up. He nearly cut the guy's arm off. I've seen the pictures. It's horrendous.
I did post this with a now I'm going to give, if you want to look at this video on the subway from a security cam in the subway car, it's posted. It's online, and I put it under Stefan's name and guess, but keep in mind it's pretty ugly stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly stuff. Even uglier are the pictures that were taken of him in the aftermath. Lying in a pool of blood on the subway train.
Yeah.
So anyways, I asked him, I said, now, I've been a martial arts instructor for like 45 years. And when I was teaching Krav Maga and also Jiu-Jitsu, because Krav Maga is just plagiarized Jiu-Jitsu, I taught all the knife defenses, And when you demonstrate these knife defenses in front of the class, it looks really good. Because you got a guy with a rubber knife, and you say, "Okay, Bob, you come and attack me with an overhand attack." Okay, so he comes to overhand, and then you block, and you bring your arm underneath, and you down his elbow, and you get him into a shoulder lock, and you bring him to the ground. It's really impressive when you're demonstrating those techniques to the class, right? So there's all kinds of knife defenses, cross block low, grab the wrist, do an outward wrist lock, or a cross hand block and coming under the elbow and do a shoulder lock, looks great, right? Because that's the way I was taught by my Israeli commando buddy, and that's how I taught it too in the class. But to be honest with you, and to be honest with your listeners, none of those techniques will work in real life unless the person you are defending against is attacking you in slow motion. They don't work in real life. And, I try to warn people, because how do I know? Because I've always been somebody that likes to get to the reality of it. So we would spar with knives freeform, right? So no pre-choreographed, back me this way and I'll block you that way. None of that stuff. Everybody's seen it 100 times, right? Yeah, it looks good. It doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work. You get somebody that is a raving lunatic, and that's what Derek said. He said, this guy had a look of hatred in his eyes. He said he was just, furious and full of hatred, and he went after him with all his strength. Stab, 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 stab. How do you defend against that? Well, not with any of these fancy jiu-jitsu moves. That doesn't work. Even though Derek got off a front push kick and a side kick, and even managed to smack him in the head, but it wasn't enough. This guy was furious. He was enraged and full of hate. And if you see the guy's mugshot, oh my God, he looks like evil incarnate. You know, he's your living nightmare of a black knife attacker. Anyway, so Derek was running down between the cars, trying to escape. This guy's chasing after him, stabbing him in the back, and there were hundreds of people on the subway. Nobody intervened.
Nobody intervened. This is this culture is, I'm afraid, doomed. I don't know how it's going to be pulled back up when half of them are completely gone left-wing socialist communist, and cutting across the whole line on both sides is this terminal cell phone addiction, and it's bad. Gen Z is gone. There's nothing there. There are a few, but not many. They think that what they see on that screen is reality, and that's what they strive to emulate. They live stream. They do all this stuff. They really have no good role models. I can't think of one.
No. Well, there's me. You know, I've been trying for a couple of years now.
Yes.
To teach people how to be warriors, you know, based on my book, The Master's Guide to the Way of the Warrior. I've done numerous interviews and produced numerous videos. Because, listen, if you want to survive what's coming,
That's
first
true.
of all,
you have done all that. Yes, of course.
Yeah, first of all, get prepared. You know, 6 months food and radios and a med kit and a way to purify water and, of course, firearms. And that'll, go a long way to making sure you survive what's coming. But the other thing is, you got to be a warrior. I mean, if you have all these supplies and all this, guns and radios and all, great. But if you're not a warrior, you will fail. A warrior is somebody who has critical thinking abilities, somebody who can think on their feet and can jump into action and do things and defend his family. If you're not a warrior, you can't do anything. And we know that the small hats that control this world have done everything in their power to destroy masculinity. Right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
There are very few real men left. And so, for example, on Sundays I teach one of my old students. He's about 33 now. I taught him when he was 8 years old, and he got back in touch with me. And he said, "Listen, I want to learn from you." He says, "Because you're the only real man I've ever met."
Nice
so
comment.
That was very nice.
Come on, that's a compliment you won't forget. That's good.
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, look, it's not that I'm a tough guy. I don't go around swaggering and punching people.
No, I get it.
But I'm willing to speak my mind, right? And I'm willing to jump into action if people are being intimidated and being hurt. So anyways, I try, Jeff. I've been trying to instill the warrior spirit. For the listeners out there, get my book, The Master's Guide to the Way of the Warrior. It goes through the philosophy and the techniques and the history, and it gives you a real grounded basis of what a warrior is. It's not just somebody who fights. A warrior is a path. It's a way of living, and it's a spiritual path. But it makes you strong, and it makes sure that you don't put up with bullshit. But anyways, so what I want to say about that incident with Derek and him getting stabbed, oh my God, he was butchered. Oh my God, the wounds. And there's photographs of him bleeding out on the floor. And here's the other thing, Jeff.
Horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the other thing that really...
How many other horrible murders have there been committed by these monsters? Murders, butcheries,
dozens and dozens
attacks.
and dozens.
Countless. countless. They're way up there.
Because I was looking for the link to send you the video, right? And
Yeah.
so I didn't have it handy on me, so I thought, I'll just Google it on, I'll just search for it on YouTube. So I went, subway stabbing attack. Holy shit, I got like 50 news stories, and none of them were him. This is a regular occurrence now in Toronto. People are being stabbed every day, you know, but you don't usually, you know, it's not something that's kind of advertised very much. You know, it's hushed up. You know how it goes, Jeff. Oh, was the attacker a black guy? Well, let's you know, downplay this story. Anyway, so yeah, dozens and dozens, like just you know, subway stabbing. Anyway, so the other thing that really pissed me off about the story, never mind that nobody intervened, right? He's running down from one subway car to the next subway car, because they're all open in between, right? And this crazed Nigerian with a knife, and this guy is bleeding everywhere, and there's people screaming, "Oh, he's stabbed, he's stabbed." Nobody stepped in. Now, finally, the black guy gave up, went back, stole his backpack. Well, we can't be stabbing people without finding some profit motive, so let's go and steal his backpack. So the Nigerian went and stole Derek's backpack and then got off at the next station. Now Derek is lying in a pool of blood. Who's there to administer first aid? Nobody. Nobody was going.
We failed. We have failed. Has it been taken away from us, or have we given it up? It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Nobody. I said, "What do you mean? Nobody was there to give you?" Because you know me, I used to be an instructor for St. John Ambulance, and one of the things we taught people was that we have a law that would hold you liable if you administer first aid. So we always encourage people to come on.
So if you just even pick somebody up or move them a little bit, whatever, you have rendered first aid, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And you.
Well, that would keep people from wanting to get involved, right? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that tend to push people away from getting involved? No one will help. They're afraid of legal liabilities now.
No, there is no legal liability. That's what I'm saying. You can help. You can administer first aid.
Was there ever? Was there ever?
No. Well, there was, but they changed it back in the 60s, and so that people are encouraged to administer first aid at accident scenes. That was the whole point of teaching these first aid courses, and we tell them, you know, you run up and you say, "I know first aid. I can help. You get on the phone, call 911. You clear these people out. You give me some, you know, a shirt or something."
Sure.
So I taught people how to do that for years, and it was something, you know, we were proud of. We'll help each other. China, where somebody gets hit by a car and they lay there in the middle of the street for hours with nobody even stopping to help. But it's getting that way now. It's getting that way now here. So nobody came to his aid. He said, finally, some Mexican guy came, but he didn't know what to do. And so Derek took off his shirt, and he said, "Here, take this shirt and apply direct pressure to the wounds he had on the back." But the guy was useless. He didn't know what he was doing and didn't do anything to help him. Jeff, I don't know what to say. See, there's no real men left, because if it was me, number one, I would have intervened. Not that I'd want to, but there's other things you could do. You know, I could throw some shoes at him. I could hit him with my backpack.
You've gotten it down to, again, facing one of the saddest commentaries. Alpha males are in short supply. There are more alpha girls now than there are alpha males, I think. The soy boys and all their estrogenization that they've gone through and been put through, browbeating, the homosexuality that has captured a lot of men now, unfortunately. Things are not what they were. Alpha males.
No.
That's what made this country what it was, and no more.
Yeah.
Remember the picture of the man
I
standing up protecting his wife and children? Yeah, you'll see it, but not as often. It's not portrayed in the movies like that anymore, so that has an impact right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's no Clint Eastwoods or John Wayne's around.
Just a perfect example. Perfect.
Yeah, no Clint Eastwoods around. And then there's not even anybody that knows first aid, for crying out loud. I mean, most occupations.
That's sadly true. Should be taught in every high school, absolutely. If not junior high school, teach them all the way through.
I would teach it in primary school. What's so
started
complicated
early. Of course.
about it?
Started early.
Yeah.
No, common sense. You wanted to talk a little bit about cane for defense and how the guy on the subway might have been able to defend himself with a cane?
Well, that's the thing, because I told him, I said, listen, we saw the video a couple of times and we went over it. I said, we're not going to armchair quarterback your response to this guy's attack. Which, first of all, one thing I want to say to people is that don't get involved. I mean, this guy's playing loud music. Fine, just walk away. Just walk away. Don't say anything to him, because they hate white people. They hate our guts. They have a seething, raging, violent hatred for white people. And if you just look at them wrong, they will kill you.
Yep. It's true. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away. Remember all those idiots in Europe, with especially women and wimpy men with big signs welcoming the so-called immigrants?
Yeah,
welcome here. Well, Sweden welcomes you. I don't think they'd be doing that today. After all the rapes of their women, their girls, the murders.
Yeah.
No. Europe learned a very difficult lesson. Liberalism doesn't play out on the stage of reality very well. And this is one time where there's a prime example.
Yeah, you got to understand, they hate your guts, okay? So you can't talk to them. You can't reason with them. You can't say, listen, that's a little bit loud. You're disturbing people. But even just looking at them, you're inviting an attack, okay? Just move away from them. You see a black man on this subway car, move to the next subway car. Don't even stay there.
No.
And certainly don't allow them to sit next to you on the subway. As soon as a black man sits down on the subway, you get up and you get out. I would even get off at the stop and take a new train. I mean, you don't know what you're dealing with. They're savages. They lose it. And so that was his first mistake. I told him, look, I wanted to murder the blacks that came over and started singing hip-hop at 1 o'clock in the morning while I'm trying to enjoy a peaceful evening by the lake. I wanted to kill them, Jeff. I really did. Because they're just so obnoxious. See,
you're actually just reading their prime directive, and that's to kill Whitey. So it's okay. Mm-hmm. I understand. I think most people listening understand. And if you don't get it, if you don't understand that your life means nothing to many or most of these invaders, you've missed it, and you are in jeopardy. More so
you are
than
in
ever.
jeopardy. You don't know what you're
dealing
with.
The most important thing about the Trump selection is that we get to keep our guns for at least another 4 years.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's crucial. To me, that is the most important thing. We need to defend ourselves. And if you don't have a firearm by now, you better get with it. No matter your political persuasion, it doesn't matter.
Don't waste any time. Go and get one. Go tomorrow morning to the gun store and buy one. But what I was going to say is the only weapon that we are allowed here in Canada, because we're not allowed concealed carry, okay, so we can't carry firearms. But the only weapon that would have given Derek a fair chance of fending this guy off is a cane. Right. Because you can hold it in two hands, and when it comes at you, stabbing this way, stabbing, you've got this big cane in front of you, two hands, you can block it, and then you can counter-strike, use the butt end of it to his face,
Right.
If I had to fight somebody with a knife, a cane, I would feel way more confident with a cane than empty hand. So for all the martial artists out there, if there's somebody coming at you with a knife, just run like hell. You can't defend yourself against a lunatic with a knife. A knife is just too dangerous and causes too much damage. So we've talked about this before, about the cane. You can carry it everywhere. You can have it on you, and it's in your hand, because this black guy just exploded on him. There was hardly any time to react.
I concur. Okay.
Anyway, I want to leave it on an upbeat note.
Okay.
Our community is having the annual Christmas dinner in a couple of weeks, so we all get together. We have potluck dinner. And the other thing is, it's held at the local church here, which I like, because they have 20 beds for homeless people that they open up at night. After 8 o'clock, homeless people can go there, first come, first serve, and they get a bed. And everybody in our community is going to bring a little care package to give to the homeless people. So, Jeff, we do what we can to make the world a better place.
Well, you are leading by example. How do you want people to get in touch with you, Stefan? You give your website address for people just right now, conversationally.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get a new website, but my old website, and it's still up. It's called ChinaStrategies.com. One word, ChinaStrategies.com, and you can get my books there. And
we need to come up with a better name for you.
I do.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, my friend, thank you. That was really inspiring, very helpful, and always informative. And you keep up the great work.
Thank you, Jeff, and you too, buddy.
Okay.
You too.
Right.
I'm so glad to talk to you. Okay.
Always fun. Thank you, Stefan. Good night.
Good night.
And it's Friday night. Here's the weekend. Make the time valuable. Plan and think, because things are not going to be calm and smooth. They're going to be worse than many would even imagine. All right, we'll be on the air, of course, all the time with the network for you, so enjoy. And we will be back with you Monday. And the website, working on the news right now, every night. So we'll keep it updated and current for you there, too. Take care, talk soon, and be well.
Warning, our neurosensors have detected subversive thoughts. We will now activate our 5G control towers and erase the last 42 minutes of your memory. Stand by.